you know, I thought I'd make a video that was a little bit more like a storytelling video. So, as I said a few seconds ago, this is Vexed. And when I was writing this, I wrote this, to be precise, after I was already done with the drawing. I draw and I make stories sometimes. It doesn't it kind of depends on how I feel, basically. Because I like to draw and think of the story while I'm drawing. I know I'm not the only person that does this. Of course everybody does, probably, maybe most people, a lot of people, some people, I don't know actually. Maybe it's just me, maybe it's a lot, who knows. Not the point. Point is, I like to have a little bit of a story in mind while I am drawing my characters that are just random characters, because I was like, ooh, let's just draw something random, because sometimes it's nice to draw something random and not actually try to redraw a character, because even though I've done it many times, it is a pain. It's a pain in the butt, depending on how complex the characters are. Just even sometimes simple characters are a pain. But I was like, let's give it a little bit of a try for this one. Just let's try to map out a little bit more of a story, because he looks kind of cool and he's cute, and I liked drawing him overall. He's just adorable to me. So this little boy, this 23-year-old little boy, which is what I aged him, my age, because I didn't know how old he should be in the first place, and I was like, well, I was 23 recently. I'm not 24, but I was 23 recently. I was like, well, he can be a little baby, which is me, my age, my previous age. He could be that age, because why not? Because it's my rules when I'm making a random story for this. So anyways, he's 23. He lives in the kingdom of Arch, and he is the 12th heir in the kingdom of Arch. Why did I name it the kingdom of Arch? Because who knows? Maybe I'm just not great at naming things. He is the youngest of all of his half-siblings. He does have one sibling that's not his half-sibling, it's his direct sibling, but that one's dead, which is really, really sad, It's really sad. But what does it mean that he's the 12th sibling of the 12th half-sibling? It doesn't really mean really that much for him, to be exact. It just really means that he doesn't have much chance of ever being able to sit on the throne. That's pretty much what it means. Plus, he's the least favored out of all of his siblings, because he might not have no magic. He might not have any magic, and the royal family lives off of magic. They all have magic. But what happened was, his mother was magicless as well, and his father took his mother on and was like, oh my god, you're so pretty, because kings might just be creeps. Some of them, at least, they might just be creeps, and his mom was really pretty, so he was like, I'm gonna marry you. And that's how Vexed came along. But unfortunately, his mother died 2 years earlier, along with his older brother, his non-half sibling, that actually did have magic, because he favored their father just a little bit more, just on the magic part though. His brother was a nice person, but his brother tried to save their mother from a magical beast, and it was way too strong, and they both died, unfortunately. And that was really hard for Vex, because remember, he's magicless. So his only real people he counted as his family was his mother and his older brother, because they loved him whether he was magicless or he one day would even discover magic if he had any. But he is yet to discover it, and he's not feeling confident in that factor. But his family, the rest of his family is just kind of a butt-face about it. And, it's not exactly like he's entirely abused. Like, it's not abused, mind you, because, like, they're not really nice to him in general, because he's magicless, again. But he's still royalty. And even though he's, like, the last place royalty, he's still royalty, so he gets, like, clean clothes, nice meals, all that kind of stuff. The servants are respectful towards him, and even if some chance they are making fun of him, he's never heard it, because if you get caught making fun of a royal, you're gonna get, chinged, you don't want that. So he's never had any real problems overall from that. Now, getting to the actual drawing itself, I wanted the story to reflect his name and his appearance. So, because he looks really vexed in this drawing, and I wanted to show that. So, this is basically about him being kidnapped, because he didn't expect anybody to try to kidnap the 12th heir. He's not really well known in the kingdom. People know about him. He's just not well known. He only shows up in certain, like, royal events, but that's because the royal family can't be like, oh my god, they don't want everybody to know he's magicless. So nobody really knows he's magicless. I just think he's like a weak constitution. So he's pretty much of out of sight, out of mind kind of being in the whole kingdom and all that stuff. But some just doofuses decided, we're gonna kidnap this one probably because he's easier to kidnap, right? And unfortunately they kind of were right. He was the easiest to kidnap out of everybody. See, what happened was Vex likes to go out of the palace. He likes to sneak out into places where nobody actually knows who he is. He has a little, like, scrappy group of friends that he hangs out with, and they do things like petty crime and get into scuffles and things like that. Nothing really serious, but like just stuff like that. And that's like his real family now, basically, because they respect him. He respects them. He's always happy to go hang out with them, and he sometimes spends like a week outside of the palace, and then he'll show back home, and then he doesn't like to stay there because he just pretty much hangs out in his room, and he has to study for the most part. Vex isn't the kind of character that wants to study, you know what I mean? He's just like, he'd rather be free, especially since he's not gonna be sitting on the throne at any point in his life. So he just rather go out and go hang out with his friends. So he ends up leaving for periods of time, and nobody really cares. The servants don't do anything about it. They just they come and help him when he comes back, all that kind of stuff. But there's never been a problem. He just sneaks out and he hangs out with his friends who don't actually even know who he is either, because again, he's not well known. So he came home one day, and this is the part where I like to defend myself. You might look at the clothes and go, "Wow, that's so skimpy. That's so skimpy. What have you done to him?" And I'm like, "Oh, let me defend myself. I would like a chance to try. Thank you very much." So you see, what happened was he came home. And, he don't really like dirt because he's still royalty, right? He doesn't really like that dirt. And he was like, I gotta get clean. So he was on his way to get a shower because, like you do. And he was getting undressed. So he was like, he had part of his clothes on still. he had some of them on still, guys, I swear. And he just got kidnapped from there. And, he's actually not that bad a fighter, but they caught him off guard because he just had not expected anybody to come after him. They caught him off guard, and he got kidnapped, and they threw him in this dank, dark, like, nasty place. And he was like, "Bro, why me? Like, why would you come after me? And they're like, oh, you got a weak constitution or whatnot. You'd probably be the easiest to get at, so we tried you. And he's like, oh my god. Mind you, they don't really know he doesn't have magical powers, but I think they're just probably assuming at this point because he's weak or he's sick or whatever they assume he is, that, you know, he's easiest. And he was. That is the unfortunate truth. He was the easiest to go after, especially since he was not expecting anybody to try to kidnap him, being the 12th heir, because they're like, what? And they're like, we're gonna use you as ransom, we're gonna get your father to pay us. And he's like, bro, really? My father doesn't care about me. Like, what is wrong with you guys? So he is just unfortunately glaring his little heart out in this dank, nasty little dark place. And I feel like I did a pretty good expression there. Look at his little angry baby face. Look at him. He's so vexed. Just like his namesake, he is just so irritated. I would be irritated too if somebody tried to snatch me while I was trying to get in my shower. I'd be like, bro, really? Not that I would have been better after he got a shower, because then he would have just been dirty and that would have sucked. So, do you think Vex is going to be able to get out of this situation? Do you think his father will actually come save him? Do you think maybe his group of friends might figure out that he's missing? What do you guys think? If you want to leave a little comment down below saying what you think might happen to him next, I think that would be cool. Or you can just say hi. I don't care. Anyways, guys, this is getting towards the very end of the video. I hope you enjoyed my... Oh, I dropped my microphone. I hope you enjoyed my little ramblings of my drawing of this sweet little baby boy that I just made. Well, I made him a while ago. Not the point. Bye!